For the last 130 years, we've electrified the world.
Connected communities.
Illuminated possibility.
Delivered prosperity.
We've played our part in building a world that works.
But time stops for nobody.
And neither do we.
Time to go harder.
To provide more sustainable, affordable, reliable, and secure electricity for all.
Before it's too late.
The next 130 years start
right now.
Right here.
The world is depending on us to innovate and collaborate.
Electrify and decarbonize.
Revolutionize.
It's on us to make change now.
We have to beat our own records.
That means blazing new power highways to connect diverse technologies.
And powering toward net zero.
While providing electricity for 700 million more people.
Delivering our most powerful wind turbines yet.
Check.
To even more places around the world.
Own it.
It's not going to be easy.
It's going to take big moves.
But hey, we have the experience, the people, and the pioneering spirit
that can power the future.
And help decarbonize the planet.
It's not just keeping the lights on.
It's digitizing and orchestrating the grid.
Developing modern and more affordable nuclear technologies.
Scaling and utilizing lower carbon fuels.
It's time to show the world what a new era of energy feels like.
We've got this because
we've got
the energy.
The energy.
The energy
to change the world.
La energía para cambiar el mundo.
Die Energie, die die Welt verändert.
दुनिया को बदलने की ऊर्जा.
L'énergie de changer le monde.
세계를 변화시킬 energy.
The energy to change the world. Let's do this.
Hello, and welcome to the GE Vernova Recruiting Webinar Series. This is the first webinar to introduce you to our new energy-focused company, GE Vernova, and provide a high-level overview on our early career leadership programs and internships. My name is Lindsay Cody. I'm the Global Recruiting and University Relations Leader for GE Vernova, and today we're very excited to share more about our company, the energy transition, and the exciting early career opportunities that exist. Joining me to share this message are two great speakers. The first is Dr. Jeffrey Goldmere. Jeff is a subject matter expert who is responsible for developing and executing strategies for the decarbonization of gas turbine-based power plants. He's also co-creator and co-host of GE's podcast, Cutting Carbon. And our second speaker is Julie Coltree. Julie leads our early talent leadership programs globally for the GE Vernova businesses. With that, I'll hand it over to Jeff, who will introduce GE Vernova and discuss the energy transition.
Lindsay, thank you so much for the introduction. Really excited to be here with everyone today. So as Lindsay mentioned, I'm Jeff Goldmere. I'm our global hydrogen value chain leader, not just for GE Gas Power, but across GE Vernova. I'm going to spend a few minutes today talking to you about GE Vernova, who we are, what is our purpose, and talk a little bit about the energy transition. I think it's really obvious for anyone who's just kind of picked up a newspaper, read the news. You know, we are seeing dramatic shifts, not just in local weather, but in global climate. And based on the science, we believe this is really happening because of significant shifts in global CO2 emissions. Fundamentally, if we look at how much CO2 the world emits in any given year, a significant portion of that comes from man-made sources: electricity, heat, industrial systems, transportation. Electricity and heat alone represent something like 40% of man-made CO2 emissions. And we're really being asked to think about how in the future do we reduce the amount of CO2 that we emit yearly. But it's not an easy thing to do. There are significant challenges that provide significant headwinds towards us as we go towards the global goals of being net zero by 2050. So let's talk a little bit more about how we're going to electrify the world while at the same time decarbonizing it. And this is really at the core of what GE Vernova is all about. So let's talk about some of the great opportunities that also present themselves as headwinds. We believe there's going to be a 50% increase or need in demand of electricity over the next 20 years. Globally, there's something like 800 million people around the world who either don't have access to electricity at all or don't have access to reliable electricity. For most of us, we really do take for granted that when you walk into a room and turn on the light switch or go to run the microwave or charge your device, that electricity will be there. For many people around the world, that's a luxury they just don't have. But more than that, we're talking about electricity really is an underpinning of society. It really does help create economic growth, health, and prosperity. Think about going to the hospital, being able to refrigerate medicine, having advanced diagnostic systems, all which require electricity. Think about all the luxuries, things as simple as air conditioning or refrigeration, or even lights in your home to do homework. Really is just something that many of us take for granted, but not everyone in the world has access to reliable and affordable electricity. But what does it really mean when we talk about this growth in electricity? On the right-hand side, you can see kind of a chart that looks at global electricity generation in terawatt hours a year with these three vertical arrows. And these are scenarios coming from the International Energy Agency and their forecasts of different scenarios. And you can see, depending on the assumptions they've made, we could see anywhere or need for anywhere from 50% to more than 100% growth in electricity over the next 20 years. But remember, that electricity and the sources of that electricity can't be how we sourced electricity over the last 100 years. We're talking about now electricity that has to be intrinsically lower or zero carbon emission. So for Vernova, where we basically are providing roughly 30% of the world's electricity today, it's not just about how we decarbonize all of that new electricity. How do we also decarbonize all of the existing electricity from all of the systems that we've helped develop and the technology we've created over the last 130 years? But it's really key. It's not just about new technology. These technologies have to be affordable. They have to be reliable. And ultimately, as we talk about changing the world, sustainable. So let's talk a little more about Vernova, right? Again, we think about all the different things that really are creating advantages for us, but at the same time, some challenges. As I talked about, right, the need for decarbonizing not just all of these new electrical systems, but all the existing generation systems. Significant growth in wind and solar, which is a huge positive, but we need to understand their impact on the electrical grid. As we talked about the number of people around the world without access to reliable electricity today and how that will grow. And think about the investment needed to produce that electricity and the infrastructure. Again, it's not just about having a new wind turbine or a new gas power plant. You need the electricity infrastructure, the high voltage lines, the substations. It's not just enough to produce the electricity, you have to get it to the end consumers. The last 18 months have shown us that energy security is a prime concern for many countries. The invasion of Ukraine and how it created instability in energy markets globally as countries looked at their net zero goals, but also then superimposed on that energy security requirements. So it becomes an interesting conversation. We think about how to decarbonize the world and yet at the same time provide energy security for countries. At the same time, we talked about electrification, right? It's not just that we have 800 plus million people who want access to electricity. Think about around the world where people are switching from their fossil fuel-based car to electric vehicles. Think about homes where we're switching from maybe heating oil or natural gas to electric heating in your home. New demands in multiple countries are driving up this demand. So again, how do we support this desire for electrification? I've talked about some key words in the last couple of minutes, things like affordability, reliability, and sustainability. And they're really key. We think about this as the energy trilemma, a three-legged stool. We can't really go forward with one or two. We need all three. It's not just good enough that we create new electricity sources that are sustainable, i.e. that they have a low carbon intensity. They have to be reliable and affordable for people around the world. So as we work within GE Vernova, with our technologists, with our teams to develop these new solutions, we keep in mind not just does the technology have a lower carbon intensity, but does it meet all three metrics? Does it help provide reliable power? And does it help to ensure that that power is affordable for people? And so for us, this concept of the energy trilemma really comes down to the concept that having sustainable energy and the quality of life that it provides really in some ways is a basic human right. people should be able to expect that the electricity they have is affordable and reliable and sustainable all at the same time. Now, the great news, Vernova in many ways is specially purposed to do this mission. We have 12 businesses plus what we call accelerators that are really focused on this combination of decarbonization and electrification. We have over 80,000 employees worldwide, bringing an incredible global perspective to us as we think about solving these challenges. And it really is an exciting time to be part of this company. Now, I'm not going to go read every name on the page here, but you can look at the number of companies we have in the technology spaces. We have technology that are maybe a little more traditional, gas power, gas turbines, steam turbines, wind turbines, both are onshore and offshore. But we also have businesses that are really thinking about things in a very different way. We have an entire group focused on digital and grid solutions. What are not just wind turbines of the future, but what are the wind turbine blades of the future going to look like? Incredible innovative work that's happening across these businesses as we think about them. And the truth is, we need all of these businesses as we think about delivering these unique solutions to reduce carbon intensity from power. Again, doing so reliably, affordably, and sustainably. Now let's talk for a moment about really what these businesses provide and what capabilities and strengths they bring to our customers. Roughly 30% of the world's electricity is produced using GE technology. So we have an incredible installed base of units and systems already out there. For us, we view that as an incredible responsibility to help our customers, the utilities, the independent power providers, really decarbonize their assets, letting them set the roadmap, but working and partnering with them to make sure that they're able to decarbonize those assets. For us, that includes something like over 7,000 gas turbines in operation today, over 54,000 wind turbines operating in more than 50 countries. More than 30%, or roughly 30% of global utilities use software that GE has provided to run their operations. When you put together all of our units, that is the gas turbines, steam turbines, nuclear facilities, wind turbines, where GE technology is in place, that's over 2 terawatts of installed power. That is an awesome responsibility to work with our customers to ensure not only do those systems work reliably, but help them take those technologies into the future. We're very excited. Our nuclear power business, GE Hitachi, is developing a small modular reactor. We have our first commercial contract signed in North America with Ontario Power Generation. It's very exciting to think about next generation nuclear. We think about things we're doing with our gas turbine business. What we do with gas turbines is very different. Now we can combine them with batteries and create this hybrid system. With the Haliade X, we have a wind turbine, a singular wind turbine that can produce over 14 megawatts of power. We've got a huge backlog of revenue, of orders, investment at our Advanced Research Center. So we're really proud of the capabilities we have, of the investments we've made in the past, the investments we're making in the future to support our customers and the world. Now, we've talked about all these businesses. I want to leave you with one final thought on the businesses and sort of how we think of them. We kind of group them in 3 categories. We group them as our wind businesses, which is our onshore and offshore wind business, and our LM wind business, which is our wind turbine blade unit. We think of our power or conventional power businesses, that's gas power, steam power, nuclear, and our hydropower business. I love our hydropower business because it's not just run-of-river hydro, but it's also pumped storage or pumped hydro. For those who don't know, pumped hydro represents the single largest form of energy storage in the world. And then we have our electrification business, which is power conversion, digital, grid, how we connect things together. And in this future world where we're focused on electrification, that connection of devices, ensuring we have reliable transmission of electricity becomes critical. So we've really taken the time at Vernova to think about how we're grouping these businesses so that we are aligned to support each other and help the total business to help GE Vernova grow. And I can't think of a better way to kind of wrap up how we think about Vernova than by quoting Scott Strazik, who is our CEO. If we act now, we can help address both climate crisis and provide more sustainable, affordable, and reliable electricity. Let's get started. I can think of no better way to talk about the launch of a new company in Vernova than to talk about our purpose and to just get down to work. I will take a couple minutes just to explain my role. I do have a sort of unique role within the company. As Lindsay introduced, I'm a subject matter expert. I have spent over 20 years with General Electric, starting off at our Advanced Research Center as a combustion research engineer, working through different roles. I've been asked now to think about how hydrogen can impact GE Vernova, not just for the gas turbine business, our gas power business, but all of our businesses as we think about how our businesses focus on electrification can support the production of hydrogen. Because hydrogen really represents nothing more than the transformation of clean electricity that might be produced from wind or solar or hydro or nuclear into a new form. And as a molecule, it's easier to store for long duration. It's easier to transport over very long distances. So how are we thinking about taking clean electricity and transforming it in a way we can now use it elsewhere, or to support hard to electrify sectors, whether it's aviation or certain industrial processes? And the image we're showing here on the page just gives you a sense of how broad our portfolio is and the businesses that could all touch what we call the hydrogen value chain. And it's an ongoing conversation that we're very excited about in Vernova, because it really could represent a new future, not just for our company, but for the world. As part of my role within the company, I travel the world really working with our customers and working with our technologists, and really to support our customers as we think about the energy transition. And so whether it's talking about cutting edge technology at a conference, whether it's supporting our customers with cutting edge technology demonstrations at their power plants, meeting with policymakers and influencers around the world to have honest conversations about what the state of technology is today, where our technology roadmaps will take us in the next 5, 10, or 15 years, and really working to ensure that the policies that countries are enabling and enacting are really aligned with what technology is today and where it could be, to make sure that, again, we can support our customers and they can support their customers, the end users of that electricity, to, again, ultimately ensure that we have affordable, reliable, and sustainable electricity. Lindsay, when she introduced, talked about this podcast. It's been a project of mine for a number of years now. I'm proud to talk about, we have over or nearly 50 episodes spanning 3 years on an incredible range of topics. Our goal is to bring subject matter experts to a conversation where we don't expect our audience to be the subject matter expert, to really explain things from some of the key technologies around the use of hydrogen or carbon capture or carbon sequestration. We bring in experts both from inside and outside the company. The episodes we're releasing this year are focused on GE Vernova. So the episodes we released earlier this year have focused on our wind businesses. So again, onshore and offshore wind, our LM wind business. Sometime in mid-September this year, 2023, we're expecting that we'll release the next series of episodes, which will really focus on our power businesses, gas power, steam, nuclear, and hydro. And then either late in 23 or early in 24, we expect to release what we'll call season 9, which will be about our electrification businesses. Again, grid and digital and power conversion. So if you're interested in learning more about GE Vernova, these episodes feature conversations with these business CEOs. Take a listen to one of those episodes. They're typically only 20 or 30 minutes long. You'll get some real insights about what those companies are doing, directly from their CEOs. So Lindsay, thanks again for inviting me to be part of this webinar. I'm hoping maybe we've got a couple questions coming in, and I'd be happy to answer some of those for you.
That's great. Thank you, Jeff. We do have a few questions for you. First question is, can you talk about GE's plan for meeting its carbon neutrality goal by 2030?
Sure, Lindsay, and that's a really great question. So let's first start talking about what our 2030 goal is, which is to achieve carbon neutrality in our own Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions, again, by 2030. Now, I want to pause for a moment and just to make sure everyone listening in understands when we say Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions, how is that defined? So Scope 1 emissions are the direct emissions that would happen from our facilities. Scope 2 emissions are tied to we call indirect emissions. So if we're buying electricity or heat or steam for our facilities, the carbon emissions associated with those sources, that's scope 2. So what we're doing is really this internal audit, if you will, using lean principles to look at our operations globally to see where we can have specific impact on reducing our carbon footprint. And so there's a significant amount of work that's happening around the globe as we think about those investments, specifically to look at how we reduce carbon emissions. And let me give one specific example. Again, as I said, there's been a lot of activity at on our manufacturing sites globally. Now, within gas power, most of our emissions within scope 1 and scope 2 are scope 2, and that really arises again from the purchase of electricity supporting those manufacturing operations. So the teams using this lean approach, going to the factories, going to Gemba, where the electricity and that energy is being used, have done these internal audits on all sorts of systems and have already identified significant savings. On average, these sites are finding just with these internal audits, we're able to reduce energy usage by about 9%. So we're starting to see progress towards that. And what's important is our baseline for this reduction is set for our 2019 emissions. We've already seen reductions of about 28% relative to that baseline. So we're almost a third of the way towards our goal here in 2023.
That's great. Thanks for the additional context, Jeff. Next question for you is, how do you see diversity and different backgrounds as critical to GE Vernova's success?
Lindsay, again, another really fantastic question. I think my view personally, and I think this is a view held by many others, is that we see diversity as critical to the success of Vernova. Why? Well, first of all, climate change is a global problem. It is going to require different perspectives to be able to solve this problem. Climate change will not be solved with a singular solution. So what does that mean? We need people with different experiences, different backgrounds, different perspectives coming from all over the world where climate change is having different impacts. We need all of these viewpoints and perspectives coming together as a team to be able to solve these problems. And it really is critical that we don't have a singular perspective on any one thing. We do need this chorus of voices. And I want to make sure people understand, we talk a lot about, right, solving these technical challenges. At Vernova, it's more than just solving the technical challenges. As we talked about, it has to be affordable, reliable, sustainable. We have an entire set of teams supporting us. I think about our human resources team, our finance team, our digital teams, our legal teams. It takes an entire team. It's not just good enough to have the technology. We are a huge portfolio, not just of technologists, but of very talented people who are supporting the entire company as we bring these solutions forward. And so I want to make sure people understand it's not just diversity of background and experience, but diversity of talents, right? We have great training programs, great leadership programs, and it's not just all about it being in a STEM field. We need everyone to be part of this solution process. We are Vernova, we are one team.
Thank you for that, Jeff. It's certainly an exciting time to be a part of the GE Vernova company. Last question for you. How can we learn more about the technological advancement happening in the energy industry for carbon emissions reduction?
Another superb question. And frankly, this is one that I have personal interest in, to ensuring that we really educate folks globally about not just the problem, but the solutions that are available. What I would say is, from a Vernova perspective, we have just an amazing amount of material online. So absolutely go to our websites. The GE website is a great place to start. We have a Future of Energy website, which has got white papers on a variety of topics. Many of them are focused on renewables and gas turbines. We have online webinars. We have online calculator tools. We have a variety of materials available. We talked about the podcast already. Don't forget social media. Follow GE Vernova on LinkedIn. Follow it on different social media platforms. Follow some of our key leaders. Follow Scott Strazik. Follow Roger Martello, who's our Chief Sustainability Officer. Follow the businesses. Follow me. we've got all sorts of folks out there talking about the latest technology, our project successes, where we're having impact. So there's just a lot of material available online. Just use whatever you're comfortable with, whether it's the white paper, the webinar, the podcast, social media. But there's just a ton of material out there. People should be able to find that, and hopefully it will help enrich the conversation.
Great, thank you, Jeff, and thank you so much for your time today as well. With that, I'll turn it over to Julie Coltree.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. I'm thrilled, as Jeff was, also to be here with all of you today. And I have the pleasure and privilege of talking about one of our core areas of investment in the space, and that is our program members. I have the wonderful opportunity to lead our program teams around the world for our early career leadership and development programs, and want to give you a little insight into them today. So when we think about developing our next generation of leaders and innovators, we think a core pipeline into that development is our leadership development programs. And we're very fortunate to have programs across multiple functional areas, whether it be engineering or supply chain, finance, or human resources. We cover most of the spectrum of the places in which many of our folks are coming out of university with areas of concentration. And our portfolio of programs really grows our talent across these critical functions and enables our candidates to contribute real impactful results while they hone their skills and build a career. And that's done through several ways: strong peer communities within our program spaces, a diversity of experiences that helps to provide breadth as well as depth in their functional areas, interactions with leaders at all spectrums of our organization across a multitude of different areas. They have active coaching from phenomenal assignment leaders that we have around the world. And they get not only challenging assignments, but also world-class training. And we do this across 25 countries with over 400 program members and in 6 core program areas that we're going to talk about today. If you look at this next page, this provides you a little of our program footprint around the world. And I truly mean around the world. You can see from this slide that we not only have almost every one of our core businesses participating in our leadership programs, but you see here regionally, we have clusters of individuals, whether it be in North America or South America, in Eastern and Western Europe, in India, in China, the greater Asia region. We really are globally located and rely on that talent, as Jeff previously talked about, to truly provide insights from around the world to solve our greatest challenges. When you look at our numbers by program, we are heaviest in our engineering space, but we also have great numbers across all of our functional program teams. The lower 2 programs that you see there on the right aren't currently in our scope for today, as they're mostly internal and they are at an experienced level. But again, you see the breadth across all of our programs on this page. This is our foundation roadmap, and this is used to hopefully give you a good understanding of what your 2 years could mean if you join a full-time leadership program here in GE Vernova. It is going to be a combination of rotational experiences as well as immersion experiences that we call them. We affectionately call our in-person events our leadership program experience, or LPX. And that provides some core concepts that we want all of our leadership program members to have, agnostic of function. Those are things like industry knowledge and depth. You may not all become Dr. Goldmere, Thanks, Jeff, for all of that. But you will become a foundational expert in the areas of the energy industry and at least be able to talk about the context of the world in which you sit. We also cover leadership foundations, which are some core competencies that we believe are foundational and fundamental to your leadership development. We connect you through our extensive community, and we provide peer learning events and learning circles to help advance you in your journey as you go through your 2 years. So holistically, this is really a multiple touch point, multiple opportunity experience over the course of your 2 years that should create a well-rounded individual enculturated into GE Vernova, acclimated into the energy space, and ready to tackle the world when they graduate from program in 2 years. Let's talk further about the 6 core programs that we're speaking about today. So again, these are considered functional tracks. You may join if you're interested, for example, in the sales space or the commercial operations or marketing world. You may be interested in the commercial leadership program. On the reverse side, if you're interested in technology in the digital space, thinking about sort of wing to wing across the various needs that we have in the digital technology function, DTLP may be where your heart resides. If you're interested in engineering, our Edison Engineering is one of our premier programs. Again, all of these are rotational. All of these are 2 years in length, and they all have both true real life experiences in the rotations and the assignments that you have, as well as virtual and in-person classroom components. On the lower line, you see our Finance Management Program, or FMP. This is truly a development of analytical skills and business acumen to tackle and help to lead a world-class business operation. Our Operations Management Leadership Program focuses on advanced manufacturing, frontline leadership, quality, and supply chain management. Interesting here is this is one of the few programs that will give you a direct people leader experience during the course of your program time. One of your rotations, in many cases, is a frontline manager. And then finally, our Human Resources Leadership Program, or HRLP, which deals with the human capital aspect of our company and really helps to build upon HR knowledge and execution to expand the leadership impact you can have as part of our HR organization. One of the key ways that you can ultimately become a member of our full-time leadership programs is to join one of our internship and co-op opportunities. These are all paid positions. They're typically 10 to 12 weeks in length, unless you are on a specific co-op timing. They provide you work experience in your field of study. This is a great way to get on the ground, real life knowledge of what you're learning in all of your classrooms today. We provide a huge network of other interns that have also joined our Vernova community, and we give exposure to GE leaders and GE technologies. One of the other really nice aspects, and this helps hopefully all of you as you think about this opportunity, is we do provide relocation, and housing stipends are also provided for all of our internship opportunities. Our main locations are Atlanta, Georgia, Greenville, South Carolina, Houston, Texas, and Schenectady, New York. Many of you may ask, sort of what we're looking for when we think about a hiring profile. And I will say these components are true regardless of the functional program you apply to, or regardless of the intern program you apply to. This gets at what we are really looking for at the core of GE Vernova. And there's really 5 components. We are looking for innovators, and these are folks that are passionate about the energy industry and sustainability. And again, we're not expecting you to walk in as experts, but we want folks that are interested and passionate to be in this space every day and to help us solve these big challenges. We want folks that have demonstrated the ability to challenge the status quo or to search for a better way of doing things. Second, we want collaborators. We are absolutely 100% a team-based environment here at Vernova. You know, Jeff talked about that there's not going to be any one solution, and it most certainly will never be done by any one individual. We operate and thrive in teams, and we are looking for people that are strong team players, that are strong communicators with a global mindset and highly inclusive. We want everyone to feel safe to come to work as their authentic self. And we want our teams to thrive with diverse individuals that can come with different and unique perspectives to solve our challenges. That leads to the third point, which is a perfect lead in to problem solvers. So we hope you can prove through your coursework, through your teamwork that you've already done, through different experiences that you've had, that you can showcase you are a critical thinker, that you have the ability to solve complex problems utilizing data where it's applicable. And we also hope that you have and show continuous improvement mindsets. We operate with something called lean here, or lean methodology in GE Vernova. And we love folks that want to just continue to iterate and improve on existing processes that we have, to find those little ways to make us better every day. We also want individuals that are customer focused, and our customers, based on each function, can look very different. But this means that you are active listeners, that you are flexible and adaptable, and that you are priority focused around your customers, whoever they are defined as, that you are priority focused around achieving things that will meet their needs. And then finally, we want folks that are accountable, honest and trustworthy. We believe in integrity here at GE Vernova. We live it every single day. We want folks that are self-aware, that really understand their strengths, what they bring to the table and that they can offer us as an organization, but also their development opportunities. No one is perfect, and everyone has areas that they can continue to improve. And we love folks that want to fight for that and really fight to continue to develop and learn. Organized, effective time management. We have lots going on. Every day is different, and we will constantly be pulled in different directions. And we want folks that manage their time well and can organize their priorities. And then finally, continuous learning from actions and decisions. One of the best things about failure, and failure will happen, it happens to all of us every day, is what you learn from that experience and how you begin to continue to move forward and make different decisions based on the learnings you've gained. And so that's what we're looking for across our organization. So I hope today you've been able to figure out that we want you all to have impact immediately through the work that our company is doing in attacking one of the single greatest challenges that we face as a global community. And we're going to do it through an amazing company. Vernova has unbelievable challenges, but unbelievable opportunities. And we are so excited each and every day to come to work to attack those. We hope you understand and can feel the investment that we want to make in all of you, whether you join a full-time program or whether you join the hundreds of interns that will be joining us next summer to come through our programs or through our internship pipelines and be a part of our community. And then lastly, the acceleration that you can get as an alumni through career growth, continuous opportunity for development as you hopefully think about creating a career here at GE Vernova. So that may have made you super excited and wonder, how do I take the next step and begin to apply for opportunities? And this page is a great page to illustrate that. A few things I might suggest. One is that you screenshot this page, because a couple of things that are on here, whether it's job numbers or ID numbers that will direct you to the right position, or the QR code that you can capture that will take you directly to our Vernova career site and to the roles that you are most interested in. So first, you're definitely going to want to apply. Look at all these opportunities, figure out exactly what we're looking for and what you're most interested in. And you can search based on a country, based on your experience level, and see a complete listing of those opportunities. Once you apply, if you are selected to interview, we're going to invite you for 3 things to really prepare yourself best. One is do your research. Again, we want folks that are passionate and know and understand the energy space and the programs they're applying for. So prepare in advance by learning about the position and our company. Second is be you. I talked about authenticity. We want you to come as your authentic self. Stand out, ask great questions. Think about how to set yourself apart. And then last, and I know that this is sometimes hard in an interview, but take a breath. Try to relax. We are not out to stump you. We are not out to not make you succeed. We want you to be your best, and we are going to be rooting you on every step of the way. So make the interview a conversation. Be as natural as you can. And again, come with your authentic self. And we so look forward to meeting each and every one of you. And if you advance beyond the interview stage, you'll get an offer. You'll have a period of time in order to contemplate and accept that offer. And then lastly, we will continue to keep in touch throughout the process. We know many of our positions fill long before you officially start, and that's okay. We're going to continue to stay in touch with you, and we welcome you to stay in touch with us prior to your start date so that we can get to know you better and answer any questions that you may have prior to joining us this year. And so I guess my last question to you, and I'll turn it back over to Lindsay, is do you have the energy to change the world? We certainly hope so, and we welcome you to come and apply with us. And I hope to be one of the folks talking to you real soon. So with that, Lindsay, let me turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Julie. So we do have a couple of questions for you. The first question being, can you talk a little bit about how does GE Vernova determine internship locations and assignments?
Yes, I'm happy to. So assignments and locations are really based on a combination of things. One is our business needs. Obviously, we want to have really meaty and challenging assignments out there for everyone. And so our business needs are going to be first priority. The second piece is required skill sets. So what does a specific candidate bring to the table, and where can we marry those two to create the best partnership? We always recommend candidates remain flexible on their locations in order to really get the best experience and best training opportunities out there, whether it be for an internship assignment or even eventually for a full-time program position.
Thanks, Julie. Completely agree on the flexibility and adaptability piece here. Julie, you've seen leadership programs grow and evolve over time. What are you most excited about for GE Vernova?
Thanks, Lindsay. Gosh, I'm excited about so many things. And I was laughing to myself because, I've watched Jeff speak many times and I've heard about the transition many, many times from many different leaders. And I just continue to get excited about the opportunities that we are creating across Vernova. Whether it's the chance to be exposed to multiple Vernova businesses, whether it's building a unified Vernova culture or being at the forefront of the energy transition across the globe. You said it too. Vernova is an amazing place to be right now. I personally think that our future is only limited by our own imaginations, and I am looking forward to the next chapter, wherever that may take us.
That's great. Thank you. So the next question is in regards to intern community. Can you explain a little bit or describe what the intern community is like at GE Vernova?
Yes, happy to. So in the US alone, we actually will have over 400 interns working across GE Vernova in any given year. Interns are actually placed at many of our key locations, which allow them to network with our other interns and even full-time program members and members of our broader Vernova functional communities. And this happens both professionally and socially. Now, there may or may not be other interns on your direct team. So some of our teams are really large and may have multiple interns at any given time. Others are smaller and the individual may be the only intern on that team. But our internship programs include a ton of opportunities for learning about the Vernova company, for professional development, social committees, and just networking with leadership and again, other interns from around our space. So there is definitely no lack of opportunity for them to get involved, to be a part of a community, and to stay engaged.
That's wonderful. Thanks, Julie. So last question before we wrap up. Can you describe what the culture is like of our leadership programs?
Sure. The culture of our leadership programs, I would say, is really an amplified version of the culture of the company. We're actually in the process across GE Vernova of being introduced to this concept of the Vernova way, which is helping to drive the new culture that we are hoping to set for our company going forward. And it really focuses on 5 core value areas that are critical to our success. So the first one is innovation. And I talked about this a lot with the hiring profiles. So we want to drive innovation in everything we do. And that doesn't necessarily mean that someone is going to be expected to file a new patent, although they may, or come up with the next great product. I think what we're looking for is people that continuously challenge our thinking and are not afraid to dream big and take risks where appropriate. The second major value area for us is customer service. And that means listening with humility. That means acting with urgency all around the central core of our customers. The third area is lean. And I talked about this. This is a continuous improvement mindset and methodology that we've adopted across GE Vernova. And, really this is embracing things like safety and quality, delivery and cost, and always thinking about ways that we can do things better across every process that we operate in this company. The fourth one is one team. And, I said this, and I know Jeff said this too. We are never going to be one individual developing one solution. We operate best as a diverse and inclusive culture that values multiple opinions and works together in organized groups to get work done and to solve the biggest challenges that we are facing across this energy crisis. And so when we create a beautifully inclusive environment that welcomes all sorts of input and thoughts and diverse perspectives, we are going to succeed. And then the last piece is accountability. We build trust and credibility across our organization by acting with integrity every day and communicating with transparency at every level of the organization on what we're doing, where we're going, and the problems that we face. And so by upholding our commitments and by being accountable to the decisions that we make and the responsibilities we have, we will succeed. So for me, Lindsay, that really answers the biggest question about our culture. The leadership programs embrace all of those, and we thrive to provide opportunities to stretch the muscles to fulfill those competencies and those values every single day in the work that we do.
Love that response, Julie. Thank you. Jeff, Julie, we really appreciate your time today. Can't thank you enough for joining us. It was such an informative session. And thank you.
As we come together with one vision, one team, one force, charting the way to a cleaner future, we believe we have something special, something rare, something different. We need a name to embody all of our ambitions and champion a new era of energy. It can't be the same because we can't be the same. Our name is GE Vernova. Ver for Earth's verdant and lush ecosystems. Nova for new, reflecting breakthrough innovations. Our unique name bridges our legacy of accomplishment with our future of conviction and progress. Together, we are more than 70,000 strong, with treasured customers and chosen partners, united in our shared calling to lead the global energy transition. Our history is our foundation for the future we will write together. Starting today, we wave one banner, GE Vernova.